was you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are recording. So I'm going to get us rolling. Can everybody see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I can see it.
I'm sorry, you know.
That's
Okay. Well, at this point, I'm going to first of all welcome everybody. Gene is going to be the main show, but I know some of you know us and some were introduced, but we're Tim and Gina Murray. We are the founders of CINCH Community-Based Care Management. If you've gone to our website, read our story, but we are home care agencies like you, so we have great respect and joy working with agency owners because we walked in your shoes. You're making a difference every day, and we really appreciate that. But what we found in 2017, we got into our first community, which was 145 residents, and the home care agency literally pulled out overnight and they asked us for help. Their technology did not exist for what is called shared care or congregate care, where multiple caregivers provide home care to multiple clients all at the same time. And you need more of a team-based approach. And so we built it and we rolled it out in April. And when we exited our agency in 2020, December, we were in 4 communities with 150 clients. And one of the issues with WellSky was task-based versus time-based. So we thought we'd do this webinar. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us.
Yeah.
And we'll get it going.
Thanks. And so just what we're going to go through a little introduction, what the challenges are, case study, what we've learned. We've learned a lot in providing community care. And then we'd like to introduce you to CINCH. I'm a nurse and I had no idea that we would ever develop software. I was all about taking care of people. I loved our home care agency. But when we couldn't find, we were looking for a solution. We loved taking care of the seniors in the independent apartments. It was wonderful. But I was losing my mind trying to schedule it. We were actually using paper spreadsheets. So it took a while, but we built CINCH. We built CINCH for you, for agencies that want to help seniors. And then we're going to leave plenty of time for questions, answers, comments. We love to help. We love to teach. So that's what we're about. Thanks. Gee, what's the biggest challenge? Task-based systems. You assign a cost to a task. The bottom line, it's really challenging because everybody is unique. You know, if you've been working out there in home care, you know that a shower, I'm going to cost, say it's $30. It may take me an hour to give Mrs. Smith a shower because she has arthritis. She doesn't move well. It takes longer for everything. And Mrs. Jones, man, I'm going to be in and out in 30 minutes because she's got places to go. And is that right to charge the same price? And then if you put shower on the schedule, you put a block of time of what, 30 minutes? But you do a shower and it takes you 30. Now your caregiver's running 30 minutes behind. So the mobility challenges, and then there's cognitive challenges. So I might not have any mobility challenges, but I might be just starting on my journey with dementia and I don't remember. And you've laid out the pills and I take the first one and I go off and do something else because I forgot to take the rest of them. So what could take maybe 5 minutes to do a medication reminder, it might take me 20 because I can't remember I haven't taken the pills. I need more reminders, more encouragement. So setting a price for a medication reminder. And we had clients who would take 30 minutes because they would take one pill, sip of water, bite a cracker, another pill. It could be 30 minutes before she could finish her medications. And then the bottom line is client choice. Some of our clients love to have the caregiver. They enjoyed that companionship. Well, they would chat away while caregivers making the bed, helping them get dressed. They didn't want them to leave. So these clients, they said, no, I don't want 15 minutes. I might only need 15 minutes to get all the tasks done, but I'll pay for a 30-minute visit because it's something that I really enjoy. And so that's why we respect that. So we set up visits for 15 minutes, not based on the tasks. And what we found was trying to do it task-based scheduling, it was just really inefficient for caregivers. Because the caregivers will tell you, they can look at a schedule and say, you've got 4 visits, I've got 4 visits, we both have Rise and Shine packages for everybody. I'm gonna be done in 40 minutes and you're still gonna be working in 2 hours. People are just different. So that's your basic challenge.
I can vouch for that person, my mother. And,
Bless
and,
her heart.
and I'm sure you guys out there with the sons and the daughters think one thing, and then their mom or dad thinks another. So you'll find with our system, we have this great report of scheduled versus actual. And it's a great tool to share the reality with the sons and daughters about what's happening and getting them on board with what's right for mom and dad.
That's right. So what did we learn? So as Tim said, our first community that we took over, it was very quick. We were just so thrilled. We jumped right on in. We had about 20 clients. And when we had our first meeting with them, we found out this was a really unhappy group of people. The agency had done, I think it was they had Rise and Shine and Good Evening. So they had bundled tasks. And I kept hearing, would you tell them to stop opening my blinds? I don't want my blinds open. I can open it myself. Well, apparently that was one of the things in a Rise and Shine was they were told, open up the blinds, do the dishes, make the bed. They had set tasks to do because that's the way the agency had set it up. They also had clear care because that was the only way they could bill for it. And things were not specific to each client. Another big complaint was that the caregivers were never on time. They were constantly waiting for their visits, which is most likely because Mrs. Jones actually needed an hour for her shower, but showers were blocked at 30 minutes for $30. They just were really unhappy with the services. So the agency that left said, we're not going to do this type of service anymore. If you would like to hire our caregivers, you're welcome to. So we sat down with them and they were a really great group, but they were really frustrated. They're like, look, I love this building. I love these residents and our clients. I know the residents who aren't our clients, but man, I never have what I need when I get into the visit. I got paper and it's like, I go in, they yell at me because I don't know they want tap water instead of juice for their medicines. They never had the client specific information. And then we said, well, how are your schedules? And that's when we learned schedules can look really pretty on paper or in a software system, but reality is usually very different. So they helped us rearrange the visits to say, this will balance it out. Plus, this one I'm not running from the first floor up to the 4th floor, down to the 2nd floor. Oh, we needed to organize them so they don't have to, they're walking less, they're spending more time with the clients. And then another big complaint they had was using WellSky, they were assigned to specific clients. Well, if they had to stay with somebody because there was an emergency, they were sick, they couldn't leave them, nobody else can open that visit. Nobody has access to any visit that's not assigned to them. And that's just not the way an efficient way to work in communities. Teamwork is essential. So we built CINCH so they can work as a team. They can message each other and say, while you're picking up breakfast for Mrs. Jones, can you pick up Mr. Smith's and drop it off? So home care by its nature is one caregiver, one client in their home. When you're in a community, you've got to have teamwork to be successful. And it's really made the biggest difference was giving them the tools to be successful. So as we
Well, just pause for a second. Anybody have any questions or comments? And we'll have time at the end, but I just wanted to see if anybody had anything. We don't want to make this too product oriented, but we are going to share a little bit about CINCH.
So what we've realized was when we decided that we needed a software solution because ClearCare really didn't help, was like, what do we need? And the caregiver's like, I need to be able to see, if my teammate says, hey, I'm running behind, can you help me? I need to be able to open that visit. So we're like, okay, all right, so we need to build it so it's not specific caregiver to client. We need them to be able to have access to all the visits and the task sheet so they can open them up and see. As a scheduler, because I did most of the scheduling when we first started out, was I have no idea where can I put a new client, or Mrs. Jones asks, she doesn't want 15-minute visits anymore, she wants 30-minute visits. Do I have that availability? I need to see, what do we have? How many caregivers do we need? I have no clue. Do I need 4? Do I need 5? How many caregivers, and at what times do they need it? So we really listen to our caregivers, we listen to our staff, and we built CINCH with what we call visual team-based scheduling. And what is, the caregivers are assigned to a list of client visits. So this is the week view, so there's a lot of colors up there.
We just wanted to impress you how busy it is.
It's a week view, so there's 3 caregivers working. One caregiver is blue, one caregiver is orange, and one caregiver is purple. And so you can see the gaps between the visits. These visits also move with a drag and drop. I can move it today, I can move it to a different time, ongoing. And the beauty is the caregivers, well, they can see their list of client visits, they can see the list of their teammates too.
Mhm.
And they can open up any visit and it will document as that caregiver. So we really built it to be as a team. It really did promote that. The clients were ours. They weren't mine and yours. The clients that we work for became the teams. Another thing we found in communities is we call them unscheduled visits. One community, they had emergency pendants, but they kind of tried to use them as call bells. And we said that's not going to work. We can't capture that time. So we said, all right, if we answer an emergency pendant, we put in the service agreement that we charge for unscheduled visits. So in our caregiver app, they can add an unscheduled visit, say what client they were with, how long they were with them, write down what they did, and then the office can decide if that documentation is going to go into the client's record, whether the visit is accepted or rejected. So if you accept it, you can assign a cost to it. Is this a repeat offender? Or is this, hey, you know what, this is a one-time thing. We're going to capture that visit, but we're not going to charge you for it.
This is a key feature addition. Guys, we're going to be looking at artificial intelligence. I know that's the buzzword for home care technology platforms, but we're going to take basically Gina's brain and provide some parameters. So when I'm adding a new client, it's like, do you want an AI assist? And we can look at, based on parameters, where the best fit is, or if you juggle some things around, because clients are usually flexible about 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and you can operate. Everybody works as a team. So the unscheduled visit, one of the interesting things is that it also helps identify trends. So like my mom constantly had UTI problems, and there would be a wave of visits, and that was an indicator something was not right. So all of a sudden the client's got all these visits, why? And hopefully the caregivers are sharp and they're also saying, I think this could be a problem. But that scheduled visits was a godsend because it allowed us for trends. It allowed us to report back to family members that what was going on and we need to make some changes. So that was one of the strengths of adding this capability to the product suite.
So benefits of CINCH, personalized visits. So our visits are based on the length, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or what your agency wants, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. The agency determines that. And then in that visit, just like in traditional settings, you put the tasks that should be done during that visit. Client specific. I want you to make my bed. I don't want you to make my bed. I do want you to do the dishes. All those little details that made all the difference. It really built the confidence in our residents when a caregiver could come in and knew that I wanted tea, I didn't want coffee. She knew I only took water with my pills. okay, you built that trust. And they just had higher quality of service, much happier residents when the caregivers had the information that they needed, just like they do in your traditional settings. This streamlined our operations. I mean, like I said, we went from paper, we went from spreadsheets, which was completely inefficient. The completed visits on the caregiver assignments populates the client's invoice. So if you don't finish the visit, if the visit's not done, it does not show up on their invoice. Our to turn our billing department, Micah, in our billing, it would take him hours. And literally with CINCH, it would take him about 10 minutes to run all the community care invoicing. One thing was a nice surprise. I don't think we realized how much ongoing referrals we got. So the community provided recurring revenue, which was wonderful. One community was 20 clients, but we did take on, right as COVID was hitting, a big one with over 90 clients. And we were there around the clock. We had 8 caregivers in the morning, 6 in the evenings, and 2 overnight. And it was amazing recurring revenue. The caregivers had solid shifts, they had ongoing shifts. One person goes to the hospital, does not really impact your revenue that much, doesn't impact the caregiver. And when one person left the community, somebody else moved in. And then the community also used us for traditional hours also. We were on site, someone's coming back from the hospital, needed 24/7. We could do that, and then we could see, could we pare that back as the client got stronger? Can we just do 12 hours during the day and pop-ins overnight? So that was a real bonus, was the traditional referrals we got also. We had extremely high client satisfaction once we started using CINCH. And our caregiver retention was the highest in the communities. We started 4 years ago in that big community, and we've sold our agency, but nearly all those caregivers are still there because they own it. They love their residents, they love the building, they help each other, they're built on teamwork. So, and the big community had struggled to stay with their census. So we were their 3rd or 4th agency in about 6 years. It was a big community, but nobody could manage it. And so since for the last 3 years, they've had a wait list. So the community loves it. The residents who have lived there for a long time get to stay. Just as they need a little more care, there you are to help them stay in the homes that they love. So.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, Gene is the nurse and scheduler, and I had operations and recruiting caregivers. And, feel free for you guys to put in chat kind of what you experience. I know some of you are veterans in community care, but recruiting new caregivers gave us a huge edge because we could pay them more in these communities and offer more opportunities, whether it be traditional care as well as community care. And believe it or not, in 2 communities, since we were so well respected and they were having trouble staffing their assisted living, we became a staffing company. And the next thing I know, in 2020, 30% of our revenue was staffing ALs. And so our staff coordinator had great firepower to offer caregivers. Well, you can be in this community, and by the way, in that same community, you put a different shirt on and go over to the AL wing, or we have traditional care, both. And yeah, I think a lot of you probably already get this. That's why I had the iceberg. The revenue is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other benefits that we just didn't realize we got here. So I think will be the next slide. This is where we'll focus on some time, is how do you do this? Or,
Yeah.
How do you do task-based versus traditional time-based? So I think I asked Gina to say, what would you say to you guys? And
Right.
so that's this slide here.
And it's hard. I mean, we have a customer right now, and I was just fairly new, and So we explained, you're gonna put visits in just like you do in traditional. Somebody wants an hour, somebody wants 4 hours. So it's the same way. She's, oh no, I got it. And part of the onboarding is you set up, and then we do a checkpoint. How are we doing? You know, are you understanding? Let's take a look. And in her visit duration, so we have the agency say, what kind of visits do you want to offer? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Well, she has a list of about 30, like 5 sets of 10-minute visits, and it says walk the dog, empty the trash. Basically, she had taken the tasks like she had in her current system and put them into our visit durations. And they all had different prices. It was all, you know, walking the dog was $10 and this was $5 and this. I said, so that 10 minutes, if that 10 minutes is cost different, it has different prices to it. And so she realized, we're just gonna, so let's sit down with your caregivers. Had her sit down with her caregivers and say, how does Mrs. Smith, tell me about Mrs. Smith's visits? So we can kind of unwind the task base. She has a good morning or a rise and shine, but she charges a separate price for medication reminders. So I said, all right, if you want to say, how long does that visit take? 15 minutes. But then the caregiver also does a medication reminder and I charge more for that. So CINCH is set up that you can say, okay, this person has a 15-minute visit. And in that, we're going to help her get dressed, make her bed, do a couple things, and then put the medication reminder task in there. And that has a price associated with it. So if you want to say, I need to charge separately for my medication reminder, you can do that. So a 15-minute visit is $15. Medication reminder is an additional $5. So we want to help you continue to charge what you're charging. We're just going to see if we can do it in a way that you can capture the length of time your caregiver is spending with the client. Because that's going to be the key to your success
And profitability.
You've got to know how much time your caregivers are actually spending with the clients to know if you're charging enough. So that's that current, looking at what is the
report.
Yep. The current, so take a look. So CINCH captures, they'll say you have a 15-minute visit, 7 a.m. to 7:15. When a caregiver arrives, they push the begin button and it captures the actual time that the visit starts. They do their tasks, they document their tasks. At the end, when they hit complete, it captures the actual end time. Now, they get charged for 15 minutes. You get charged by the visit, whether they're there for 3 minutes or 30 minutes. But you can run a report, and this is what the customers love. They can run the report to say, how much time is the caregiver actually spending there? Now, you may have to do a little education to caregivers who are not accustomed. They kind of go at their own pace and spend extra time with different clients. So it's all about agency policy, but you need to capture, to be profitable, the actual times. And from there, you're going to find out what your gross profit is, which is what is your revenue from your client visits versus what you're paying for, what you're paying your caregivers. So
Here's
Excuse me, someone has an open mic.
if you guys could, I'm trying to figure out, I know you could, I can mute everybody, but if ever, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
yeah, if you can go ahead and mute the mic.
Instagram in where? Instagram.
Oh.
It's been a while, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it.
She's doing it online. How much you paid for? I did it.
So
Oh, just
Yep.
now.
You'll probably have to say, excuse me, you have an open mic? We can hear you. Can you close your mic?
Listen.
Yeah, somebody's got a,
Someone has an open mic. We can hear you. Close your mic.
Gail has passport.
excuse me.
And you know this woman, I think.
guys, I'm sorry, it's been a while. I normally don't mute everybody. So I'm trying to figure out
She
how
has
to,
a passport.
do that.
Yeah. But it's, Roxy said it, it's going to finish.
Can you close your mic, please?
How much? So we need to do something for her money.
Sorry, I
Tim,
apologize.
if
So
you
if we
hover
have to
over,
make her understand.
Mrs.
what-
Hernandez,
you know,
could you close your
what is
mic?
best
it
for the
should give you
passport, maybe
three
to
little
buy a
dots and you should be
uniform,
able to mute them
to
from
buy
there.
whatever we
Oh.
can
You
do
find
with it,
her?
because
Hernandez.
no, she doesn't want to spend the
This
money.
one?
No, Hernandez. Oh,
Bingo. Thank you for, thank you
Thank
for,
you.
helping.
Yes.
Thank you, you know. Okay,
Sorry.
thank you, guys.
Just,
Appreciate it.
it's just gross profit is that exciting, you know, it's just, but so your gross profit is the amount of client revenue versus your caregiver pay, knowing that your caregiver will not be with clients 100% of the time. So it's really important that you set appropriate costs for your visits. So knowing that you need a little bit of flexibility, knowing that things aren't going to run exactly on time, we would shoot for between 60 and 70% caregiver utilization to give that buffer. And then we use an approximate thumb rule of, for our 15-minute visits, we charged what we would pay the caregiver for an hour. So 2 15-minute visits would make your 50% gross profit margin. Knowing that sometimes in the mornings, we may have 4 15-minute visits in an hour. There'll be other times that they may only have one. So that was really key to setting appropriate prices. This is a premium service. They only have to pay for half an hour to get a shower instead of a 4-hour minimum that most of us have. Our advice is change, keep your prices simple. Keep it simple. Here's the length of the visit. This is what it costs. The tasks are irrelevant. It doesn't matter what, because you're paying, it's about your caregiver's time. And then depending on the community you're in, packaged visits. So in our big community, they paid a monthly rent. And while we didn't do it initially, they were looking for, we would like to know for a month, what's this service going to cost? So clearly defining, okay, so every day you get 2 30-minute visits, one in the morning, one in the evening, 15 at lunchtime, 2 showers a week. So if you define what's included, and then we have customers who charge by the day, which does make it easy if they go to the hospital or something happens. If you charge by the month, it's a little more challenging to do it that way. But you can charge packages by the day, by the week. If you invoice bi-weekly, you can do that, or monthly. And some communities like that. Every community is a little bit different. So finding out what would speak to them, it really makes a difference. That is the end of my advice.
I think we go into, I'm going to stop the share. And I can fire some questions at Gina, but I want to open the floor to you guys, but I'll start with, it was transforming for us. We just took traditional home care and miniaturized it for short visit care. That's all we did. And we went every community, with the community where we came into in Stonebridge, the clients were so confused about the pricing. Even the agents couldn't explain it to them. And we said, we're going to honor your prices to start, but then we're going to transform this into a much simpler time-based system. And once we did, the volume of calls, complaints, everyone, because everybody got what they wanted when they wanted it. And you know, that's really, you know, it's like, what's the magic? It's not, we just took common sense.
Well, and
And
teamwork.
right. And yeah, the product, as you can see, facilitates some really cool features that traditional didn't have, especially with a lot of the products, you have to reassign a caregiver if they don't show up, or you broadcast it in the care. You've already lost the battle. This is real time. You've got to have real time, and our system's real time, self-documenting. You know, one of our customers said it best, is it puts the power in the hands of the people on the street instead of relying on the back office. So that said, I'll get off my soapbox there, and please, questions to one of the experts in community-based home care.
I have a question. So when you're saying that it's self-documented, this would be the caregivers being in control, having more control, because they're
Right.
able to see the schedule, they're able to help each other out, and they can open up whatever another caregiver is doing
Right.
in the same building. Now, with the schedule that works for your company, they would also, be in control, because you have to have somebody who's monitoring things too.
Yeah.
Right,
You can't
right.
just let the caregivers just do it,
No,
be all over the place.
Right, right. It's cool. Great question, Angie. It's basically we wanted structure, right? There is some structure here and rules of engagement. And what's cool is, in this big community, Gina said we had like a 60-inch TV on the wall with the day unfolding in real time, and the community care coordinator is looking at it, going, uh-oh, Tim's late. I wonder what's going on. Our product has real-time messaging. And there's communication, and it was like, I'm delayed, Mrs. Smith, I'm having trouble getting her hose on or whatever. Okay, got it. And they message another caregiver, could you run over and take care of, it's self-documents itself, but if there's call out, the schedulers can, like Gina said, drag and drop, and like that caregiver in that swim lane, she goes away. You can reassign to the other remaining
right.
caregivers.
Or, and one thing is, gee, this never happens. They said, I'm running late. I'm going to get there at 9 instead of at 7. So you can see the caregivers who are there, or depending how big the community is, your community care coordinator, can we shift these visits to cover till she gets here at 9?
Right,
And then when she comes, so what you couldn't see from there is the caregiver that's assigned to that list of visits, their name is at the top. So their name's at the top of, they're assigned to a list. So if I say, you know what, I need tomorrow off, you are just reassigning one person for that list of maybe 12 visits. So, and we have a caregiver app, works Android and Apple. It also can work offline because we know the cell and Wi-Fi in communities can be really poor.
yeah, we had big problems with that, so we had that was a major design feature where you could configure the system to download to the caregiver app. It could be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Oh, we didn't realize it could be like disaster recovery.
Yeah.
One of our friends' system went down for weeks. Can you imagine that? So you can, you can have paper, right? Clients want their paper schedule. You can print them out for them and send them a PDF, whatever. But the caregivers can get it offline, because one building you have dead zones,
Yeah.
and so we can operate. And yes, I will send the recording and a PDF of this presentation to all of you post event. So no worries there. And if it'd be helpful, I will share a sample pricing. We call it Cinchville, but it was our pricing. It basically it was very simple.
This visit costs this
Right.
visit costs.
There are
Yeah.
times though that you may have tasks, and like Gina said, and you can do that.
Right, like laundry. Ours, like laundry, we charge a flat rate, say, I don't know, $25. But we could put it into Cinch, okay, because they have to go, the first visit is you have to go pick it up, put it in the laundry and start the machine. And then 40 minutes later, you got to switch it into the dryer. And then you have the third visit where you go back, get out of the dryer, fold it, hang it, and return it to the client. So we show you how to put that in and charge just the one cost for all 3 visits.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But can I ask a question about that? Because normally
bet.
what we do is, if somebody wants an hour, we do whatever we can do within that hour. But you're talking about breaking down and charging for different things.
Well, you can do that, like, but that's, if they want an hour visit, that's great. But we said if they don't need an hour. So my mom lived in a big independent, there were like 2,000 residents in Pennsylvania. And they had an hour minimum. And honestly, she had troubles with her muscles. And she just needed somebody to come in, open her pill bottle, bring her a glass of water, and make her a cup of tea. And they're like, sorry, we have to give you an hour. And then we can come at 11 o'clock in the morning. Like, that's not, she needs 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's like, I didn't care what it cost, but they're like, no, everybody has to have at least an hour. And it was like, okay. So it didn't really work.
Yeah.
So what did you charge for that though?
For 15 minutes or
You said it only took 15 minutes to do whatever.
right, so we're outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. It's
Mhm.
about $15-16
Yep.
for
Oh,
15
yeah,
minutes.
Yeah,
okay.
And then,
Something like $1 a minute.
right.
and
Some
there you go.
customers, yeah, some
Yeah.
customers take, say 15 minutes and then 30 minutes is $30, or 45,
Yeah,
$45. So
yeah,
it's really up to you. Some do it a little bit less, maybe 15, 23,
But you
yeah.
mentioned
it
That's
depends.
pretty much what we were doing. We were doing like the 15 minutes, and then of course, then $15, and then for 30 minutes, it was $30.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
of course, but you can't charge $60 for an hour. So we didn't do that.
yeah,
So it would be like
neither did we.
$35 for an hour, because
yeah.
that's normally what we would charge for an hour. So we would charge
Yeah.
$35 for an hour.
It's a premium hour, so you could even charge like 40, 42
Absolutely.
for an
Yeah,
hour.
that's
Yeah,
true. That's
yeah.
true. Exactly.
And they get it. And you know what? They
Mhm,
embrace it.
mhm,
You can charge, we found a number of our customers that they were undercharging and they were like,
mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
but again, the simpler you make it, the 15,
Yeah.
30, see, even the clients, they remember it. Oh, okay, 15 is 15, and 30 is 30.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
family knows it. So we got in a really good, easily explainable pricing, because I tried to help, we didn't believe in we helped any home care agency when we had ours. I remember home care assistants calling me saying, I'm struggling with this pricing. And I said, if you do this, you're gonna fail. And sure enough, they did. I tried to steer them,
Yeah.
but they didn't have the technology, right? That was one of the problems. They didn't have the technology to back this up. And that's we built Cinch to do that. And yeah,
And
so
so they charge, X like $10 to escort to a meal. Well, we had a lady on the fourth floor who, and yeah, she wanted to walk. That's great. But, oh, wait, I have to go to the bathroom first. It would take half an hour to get this lady, which I understand. And, we had to explain to the family that is a half an hour of the caregiver's time. It's not about the escort to lunch.
Yeah.
It's about the caregiver's time.
Yeah.
And we have to pay the caregiver. So,
yeah.
and sometimes those conversations are hard. We
But the
would sit-
system allows to document it.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of it. The scheduled versus actual is like everybody's big report for Cinch. So they can have a conversation, see trends, you know, yeah.
So, Tim,
Other questions? So Steve, hi.
yeah, how you good morning. So, we have probably a large piece of our business is in independent living. And as you guys have experienced, the independent living is now quasi assisted living, right?
right.
Because
Yeah, yeah,
it's cheaper to live there and get our assistance. And we've been looking for a way or an easier way to do the short visits and have a staff in residence more or less
yeah.
from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. I think what you've got here might be good. I was just going to ask two things. One is there a way you can do a Zoom and actually kind of test drive, or can we set up a time where you can kind of test drive the software, we can see how it works? And can you share the cost of what the software is?
Sure.
Yeah, yes, on that. Out of the gate, this is a subscription monthly service and we charge per client. And it's $12 to client to start. It's very, very simple. And some people say, well, that's a little high. And I said, well, this is a service focused on solving a problem, and your gross profit, our gross profit was over 50%. And additionally, we did a benchmark when we went from WellSky paper to Cinch WellSky. We saved $1,500 a month because our nurses are more efficient, our schedules are more efficient, our caregivers were faster, and you added up the time savings, and it justifies itself. But we also came out with, this has amazed me, a prepay option. Sort of like, I'm a audiobooks guy, and they go, oh, buy credits. So if you buy, for an example, $7,200, and you for that you get 900 credits.
9,000.
900. And your price effectively is $8 per client. And what we're finding is, I never thought it would be that popular, but well, if I know I've got 50 clients I'm managing per month, why not prepay and I get a better deal? And then I don't have to worry about it. So we have in our portal, we call Client Insights, you can see on a daily basis across all your communities what your client count is. And the way prepaid works is we load it like at the beginning of the month, say I buy 900 clients, it goes in. And then at the end of the month, we average, we don't do like what's your highest client count? And that's what you're going to get charged. We average that, deduct it, and that's my new balance going forward. And then every month we just kind of continue. 53% of our customers opted for prepay.
So what's your platform that you use for traditional?
Well, Sky, and,
so-
and you know, we could talk all day about Well Sky, but we started in 2015 and it's gotten better, but it's really not designed for what we need in independent living. I mean,
So
you can make it, you can force it and make it work, but it's really not designed for going in and sharing with a community that, hey, we're going to have 2 caregivers on staff, and we need you guys to know that they're going to be here. We can plug you in whenever, pretty much whenever we need to. But we're a regulated state. We're in Texas, so we have to do care plans and all those kinds of things. But it sounds like Cinch would make it much easier. I mean, Well Sky has added a community model in there, but it still looks like task-based, right?
You'll be very happy to know we are integrating with WellSky.
Well, they haven't announced it, and that's fine, until we've got 6 WellSky clients that are ready for the interface, and once it's all said and done, then WellSky will start promoting this, but they said uncle.
They knew.
They said uncle on it, and they have a big backlog, so they said, you know what, we're gonna partner with Cinch, and I think we're talking to Gabrielle and Angie. Access Care is going to private label Cinch, so under the covers, when it comes to scheduling, they're gonna call us, and it doesn't matter what product you're using, whatever home care technology, they're very similar. So what we did in WellSky, we work with anybody that wants to work with us. It doesn't, if you're not Access Care, WellSky, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's really good to hear that they're going to integrate with you, and it's really kind of surprising because a few years ago when we went with ADP for payroll, we had the payroll people sitting in our office calling WellSky and said, look, we got 2,000 clients that use each other. We need to integrate. And they said, not so much. And I don't know that they ever really did in the way that they needed to. Because we're not with ADP anymore, but we used to have to download things, upload, reconfigure the spreadsheet and all those kind of things, which was fine for us because we liked ADP. But, maybe since they become WellSky, they're a little bit more forward looking because independent living in the last 5 years, 7 years maybe, has changed dramatically. When you walk in and see 3 dozen scooters or walkers, it's not the social model that it once was, right?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. In a couple of our communities, they're really borderline AL, which can play into your hands because they don't want to lose those residents. They may even have their own AL, but it may be booked up. And
well, we closed the back door, and our primary independent living is worth $500,000.
Right.
So if we can integrate this software and offer those more visits and have people and staff there, then it's going to increase even more.
Yeah. So the WellSky integration, we're literally waiting for the last piece, Steve, because what they didn't have was the ability for us to write our care log visit information to them. So for single billing, that's the piece that hopefully they told us this week. This is 9 months in the making. This wasn't a quick reaction with WellSky, but we were WellSky users, and I think that helped us. They knew we were WellSky users previously. We know the product inside now. We're learning Access Care really fast.
Yeah.
But we can work with any of you all because what you do is you set up a client in your home care system as a community. You kind of fake it out. You call that you know, Angie's Community. And then
Right.
you assign caregiver shifts to that. That enables you to do payroll and everything. But as Gina brilliantly says, when you set that up, you clock in and clock out on
Well, Sky.
Well Sky, but Cinch tells the caregiver what to do. They have their app and they go, clock in, fire up Cinch, do their thing, out, clock out.
Yeah.
And the only thing though, right, without the integration is we have a very good information with QuickBooks. And I did all our AR and out of QuickBooks. And so with WellSky, what they're going to do is once they bring it in, if you want to, you could do everything in WellSky, have the revenue, your invoicing. That's what we're doing. And we hope that there's other technology players that would want to help their home care agencies do this with Cinch, with a solution that was designed to do it. You know, that we'll see.
Yeah, 'cause we've kind of got some of this down to a science, but to take it elsewhere, we need to have the system where people can just easily see it and understand what we can do to be able to do that. But you know, they kind of fought it at first. The EDs of independent living kind of fought it at first, but the fact is, they don't have any requirements that they could use to kick anybody out unless they're on an elopement risk, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that we can help. There's a lot more people that we can help with the medication reminders and the quick baths and things like that. But you know, they don't want to spend what we charge for the most part. But I think your $1 a minute thing is right down. Yeah, that's what we've done in the past.
Yeah. Well, there's a great webinar we have. You know, we're up to 12:52. We love to help you guys. This is we walked in the shoes, right? There's a webinar and recordings. If you go up to our events page, one of them is how to market to a home, you know, how
Executive director.
Right, executive director. And it's really got some great information for you in terms of exactly addressing what you said, Steve. You know, Gina did a blog on Shut the Back Door.
Shut the back door.
And you guys, man, they're gonna need the help.
Yep.
And you need the tools to track it efficiently, to make money and make people happy, win-win. And I think that's one of Gina's advice, reason I mentioned is do your homework. Look at what the assisted living costs.
Yeah.
And then compare that, okay, you're an IL,
Right.
that's fairly cheap compared to AL. My mom's was 12,000 a month.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Yeah,
Right.
we're going,
In Texas, well, I'd say in the Dallas area, assisted living is going about average of 6,000. And then I think memory care is going like between 9 and 10, something like that. And you can get at the community where we're in Plano, you can get a 1-bedroom and it's really nice for $3,500, and that's 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
And then you add, you know, I mean, you're almost at half of what an assisted living would be, right?
Right.
And then if you just need periodic care for you know your mom or dad, then we're right there. We're in the building anyway.
Right.
For the most part, right? And we can just kind of take over that aspect of it and do it really well.
exactly.
And I know that some people wanted paper before. The family wanted paper to see if the caregiver had been there, and you can do that. That's not hard to do, but we certainly would like to get a little bit better in terms of setting it up electronically, because that's the way the world works.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So you said you have something on marketing. I know I do a lot of the marketing and it's working out great. We have a couple of more communities that we're going into, but I do like the software. Now, did you say something about you're going to be integrating with Access Care, or you're integrated with Access Care?
No,
it's coming. We're beta testing it.
The proper terminology is early adopter program.
Early adopter.
Because we're not bulk beta products. It's just the integration. Tomorrow Gene is on site with our carry customer and Access Care. Yeah. It's Access Care. So
awesome.
But
I would like to see that webinar on marketing.
Sure.
It's on our website under events. There's a whole
all the recordings are there.
Yeah.
On your website?
Yep, on the events, and of course I'll send a recording for here, and maybe I'll just make so you can visit there, but I know we're wrapping up our time.
Yeah.
In terms of help, we do have a Cinch starter, which is free for up to 6 clients. And then
Oh,
we
okay.
have a consulting package we call Community Ready, which is hundreds of hours of what we did and all the templates, service agreements,
Mhm.
marketing presentations, pricing.
Mhm.
And if you go to our website under Cinch OS, we call it Cinch Operating System, you'll see that. And we've got a promo for $4.95 for the next 60 days. And you think about all the effort you'd have to do all that stuff. To me, it's and we're just trying to help. Because I think Steve, one of the things we found when we built Cinch, and I can't, it's version 1 doesn't look anything what it is today, but I put screenshots in there. We went into a Navion property called the Reserve here in Apex. And they said, how are you going to manage this? Because the other home care agency crashed and burned, and we're going through our second one. We said, well, we built this technology, and here's how it works. And they went, done, you got it. And so that's what Cinch Starter is. If it's free, you can get your arms around it, head around it,
Set up a dummy community.
and then go in and compete. Because this is so any way we can help you all, you want a demo, just respond to the email, and we have a little schedule meeting with us, and you can set a time and date for you and your team to kick the tires on Cinch. We're happy to answer questions. Gives us a lot of joy to help you guys,
Mhm.
Can you take one more question?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes. So thank you so much. This is a very new concept to me. So thank you for the presentation.
Oh, thank
Am
you.
I right in my assumption that we have to build our client base first in an assisted living facility before this can be a successful concept?
Well, it's independent apartments, so not assisted living. This is
Oh, I
people-
meant, yes, independent. Yes.
because they have
Yeah.
no help. So there's a couple ways we've started. One of the things we recommend is when you're talking to general manager, executive directors, offer a survey. Will they put out a survey to assess the level of interest and see if it can go not only to the resident, but to the family members?
Right. Yeah.
We built off, like, we were in one community and it just like a 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. visit. And so we tagged on an 8 o'clock, 8 to 8:45 shower for somebody else in the building. So we kind of tagged onto it. And so that was twice a week, and somebody else had twice a week. And as we built up the presence, then we could put a caregiver there. But you find that if it's a community that's been around for a while, they're kind of aging in place, they're all aging at the same point, that you can get a good pocket of clients. And you start with maybe one
Yeah.
caregiver, build, so it's
Mhm.
typical to have 3.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
And that's the key. Try to get to the families, because the
Family.
Yes.
seniors feel like they don't need no help at all. So
That's
if you
right.
can if you can get the information to the families. And another thing that we have done too is you could try a pilot.
Right.
Try
Right.
a pilot. That's also a good way, showing them how it works and how great it is, and that's a good
Yeah.
way to build too.
Yeah.
And we would, the communities we were in, the sales team put our information and said, hey, you may not need this now, but this is available. And that was a selling point to say,
For the community.
oh, hey, if I
Yeah.
need help down the road, so they would come in and, maybe they did need help and, immediately.
And in the community ready consulting package, there are 2 surveys. One is they don't have anybody in there, and this is a new concept, and you're floating to see if there's opportunity, that the residents would like it, short visits and all that. And then there's you're replacing an agency. And we built 2 surveys, and they're in the community ready package, and that's a really good way to get started and to work with an ED to see the
Mhm.
level of satisfaction, what's the problems if there was an old agency, or float the concept. So that's also in the package.
Exactly. And that's what we did. We worked with the marketing person, and she would put it in the packet. Also, too, I did want to ask real quick before we get off. Have you ever tried to negotiate with the community and themselves to let it be a part of their package? You know what I'm saying? Here's how much you would pay for what we would charge, but then there's also this added package that
Yeah.
you can that you can pay for a month. Have you ever
We
done
never,
that?
we never did a reseller kind of thing.
It,
Mhm.
because you have to be really careful
Yeah,
with, fair housing, because they're like, they had to stay in their lane. Hey, we do the housing, some offered dining, some offered housekeeping, but they couldn't cross the line. So we had to,
Yeah.
they're like, you can bill alongside of us, but we can't mix.
but we did have one of our borderline, they're like almost assisted living. There's a different classification here in Raleigh called MUA, multi-unit housing authority, where they can present themselves as an AL with a contract with a home care agency, and we were the show. They actually made a brochure of home care, but it was their artwork.
Yeah.
But they made it clear that you're getting it from us.
Yeah.
But they actually branded it. And then in one instance, we had a contract with the CCRC. It was a beautiful thing. Since they were full up in their AL, their skill was filled up, and they guaranteed that continuum of life. They were actually paying for clients to go to competitors. So what the EDD did there, he contracted with us. And when they got in that situation, they paid us for caring.
In
Oh, that was just,
keeping them in their apartments.
so there are different ways to do it. And I actually have in the community ready that contract. I put some sample contracts. You can see the various cool things that you can do, relationships that you can have with these guys. And I'll leave one lasting thought, guys. There's big opportunities in over 55 communities. Like Del Webb, we had 25 clients. Congregate care is, you just need a group. That group can be in a Del Webb. That group can be in an active adult 55 apartments like Overture here in Raleigh.
Or just regular apartments.
Just regular apartments. It's a group.
Townhouses, it's.
And you should talk to the homeowners association for Del Webb. We did. And they formed it, we became a preferred vendor, and they broadcasted it to the 1,256 homes there. And there's other opportunities here, guys, than just the ILs or the CCRCs.
Yeah.
This is the future, I think, for home care. So it's such a saturated market, you're competing with others. If you add this dimension, you make yourself above the noise level. And now you've got something special. So, yeah, man, you can see we're a little excited about it. We really want to help you guys. So, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'll have a recording out to you all. I'll give you the sample pricing, but check out Community Ready. And if you want a demo on our website, or just email me, we'll set up a demo with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. God bless you all, guys. You have a great
Thank
rest of the
you.
day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike.